So part of finding, right? This is about finding our people on purpose. Rather than posting and praying, which is what a lot of people do, right? There is an opportunity for you to begin to proactively start conversations with people who want to change. So how do we find those, Chris? Well, there's a couple ways. You could obviously go into Facebook groups and see there. You could, this is an easy one, lots of low-hanging fruit here. Anytime somebody comments or likes or hearts your posts, send them a direct message. Don't comment underneath, send them a direct message. In the fetch, in program 2, what we call this proximity, it's a part of proximity. And it's just about starting a conversation. So what does that sound like? You'd say like, hey, Ed, thanks for commenting on my post, period, send. That's it. Think of it like a text message. It's not a paragraph. It's not a flyer. It's not a brochure for your program. You're like, hey, Ed, thanks for commenting on my post, period, send. And then what happens is they come back and they say something like, it's predictable. It's like, yeah, no, I like what you've been posting. Perfect. Okay. And now we have a dialogue. Now we have a dialogue. And once there's a dialogue, you can see where it goes. There's nothing to force here. We're only seeing what's there. But you could ask things like, what resonated with you? What are you working on in life? What are your goals this year? There's a lot of places you could take the conversation, but now we have a dialogue, okay? So the mechanic here is to proactively start conversations to find those who want to change. Mechanic number 2, foster relationships with those curious in what you've been saying. Here's a great way to do that using your show. Let's say somebody says to you, I'll put it in marketing for me. Somebody says, hey, Chris, I really like what you're saying about marketing, but how do I do blank, right? How do I do blank? Should I have a podcast or whatever, right? I'm like, oh, perfect. I love questions. So I go and I create an episode for them in that specific question. I'm like, hey gang, it's Chris Angel. Welcome back to another episode of Marketing for the Rest of Us. I just got a question from a friend on Facebook that said, hey, should I have a podcast? Is it really worth it? So friend, his is dedicated to you, but this is for all of you out there in listening land. Here are my thoughts about having a podcast, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Post done. I then send a link to that episode to that person. I'm like, hey, our conversation, your question really inspired me. Here's some more thoughts on that. Send. Then they reply back, whatever they say, and you see like now there's there's even more material to work with here to pivot to an invitation to the funnel, right? Okay, so you can start using your show to actually speak to very specific conversations you've had with people without betraying confidences or whatever else, but you could start to nurture and foster the relationship on purpose. That's one way.